All right, y'all. September 29. We're out in the China shop here after doing some calculating inside. Spoke to our buddy Bob Krakowski. Hey, Bob, how's it going? I'm just going to share a quick antidote with you, or whatever you call it. Buyer beware. There's a reason people price things cheaply. It's because you're more than likely getting something that's not ideal. Now, I can't exactly blame it on the guy that sold me this go-kart. Although some things aren't adding up. I believe we've got a problem. First, let me explain the problem. As you can see, these front tires have some negative camber, quite a bit. I mean, just look at it. You can see what we got going on here. Part of my to-do list, remember, was to address the pills here, the 4-position CRG pills from early 2000s, top and bottom, and make sure that they were set correctly according to the chassis guide that I downloaded, right? Chassis guide tells us neutral setting, which is no camber, no negative or positive, and what they would be the, I don't know if it's minor caster or major, whatever, neutral caster as well, but it would be from where this bolt is. You can't see it because the washer's underneath here, but there's a number 2, a number 1, a 0. First, there's a setting that has no marks at all because it's so close to the edge of the hole where the kingpin comes through that you can't get anything in there. Let me get a flashlight on this thing real quick and show you. Okay. Now you see right down here to your left would be the 0 setting. Going clockwise at the front would be 1. You can see that one little mark there. Where the bolt is, you see the 2 little marks, that's 2. And the one on the back has 3 marks, that's 3. So let me run this by you one more time. 0, 1, 2, 3 in a counterclockwise. According to the instructions, the right side of or the left side, which is the left kingpin, should be counterclockwise. Neutral is 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, which is pretty much obviously they're the same distance of offset from center, right? The cam action of these things with the 4 settings. So when we checked it out, what we found was they were both set at 2 at the top, but they were on 0 at the bottom. And 0 is uptight, right? Where 2 is kind of far away. So it should have been actually, according to the chassis guide, that would be the most positive camber you could get, which would the front of the top of the tire should be tipped out, right? And that's not the case. I'm going to bring you inside in part 2 and show you the difference, because I had the cart on the ground and I had, where's it at? The old square here with the bubble in it, right? It's got the bubble level in it here. So you could see if the ground, it was on the ground, leaning up against the wheel here actually on the front, but it was on the ground and it was touching the bottom and it wasn't touching the top. And you could see how far off level, if it wasn't level, in those pictures. I'll point that out to you. So I reset the pills, put the 0s on the bottom to 2. First made sure that this one and the one on the bottom were both clockwise rotation counting, that the ones on the right were counterclockwise, and they were in the right position. So they were all positioned correctly. Didn't have to move the ones on the top, but we did have to move the ones on the bottom. So we took the hold down little bolt screw out, turned them, put them to 2, put them in, and it's just like I thought. I mean, it's not rocket science. When you look at the pill, and you can see when you turn the pill, you can see it. You kind of know what's going to happen. So in the neutral position, it's even more negative top tipped in camber than it was at the most positive setting, which is the way we had it, 2 and 0. Not the way, that's the way I got it. So at the most positive tipped out setting, they were still tipped in. And I'll show you those pictures. I took those pictures a month or so ago, a couple months ago, and I just took the reset neutral settings, which even more negative today, and I'll show you the difference. We're talking about a 1/4 inch gap here to a 1/2 inch gap here today. So most positive should have been tipped out, and it wasn't even straight up and down. It was still actually negative. So how did this happen? What's going on, Robert? Is the cart bent? Could it be evenly bent on both sides? Because both wheels are screwed up. This is what I think happened. Now, even though it was set at the most positive camber setting when we got it, they set it that way, I didn't. I gotta believe that that would tell me that there's something wrong with the chassis. Unless, of course, they did what I did and changed the spindles. These are not the spindles that came on it, first of all. And I don't even know that the ones that came on it were the correct spindles. I do have, it was the 80cc cart setup. Now it is, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's go ahead and show you what the badge on the cart says again. The Blue Demon badge says this is an CIK, ICA, ICC. Here's your water pump tab right here. So this is a shifter cart. It could be ICA. That's a 100cc direct drive, isn't it? So it could be used, I guess, with different spindles, right? Non-front brake spindles like this. This is brand new. This thing's never seen a bearing. There ain't a mark on it. But it doesn't say CRG on it either. So I don't know if this would be measuring this and this, the angle of how it's welded together. If it would be correct or not. But not, we cut everything apart and put a 50mm axle in a 40mm cart. We took the old school spring-loaded brakes off and put the more modern brakes on. We cut each of these Nerf bar stubs and pushed them down and got them level angled so the pods weren't sitting up on an angle. And I got to believe these spindles for, I don't know if they're shifter or KF. They're not vented rotors, although my good buddy Patrick McIntyre and Alan Brasher just bought a couple months ago together a spare cart for the two of them to share. They each have their own shifter cart, a DR and a SOTI. And then they bought this, I think it's 06, 08 Road Rebel, CRG Road Rebel, and it has this exact brake system on it. So this is shifter cart stuff, I'm guessing. Not just for tag or KF instead of KZ. So I don't know exactly what's going on here. I don't know if the angle of the way this stub axle is welded to the bearing tube is at a different angle because they come from a newer model cart. I should probably ask Patrick to send me pictures of his spindles, if they look the same as this. Does he have the pills or does he have the sniper setup? Now that you take a look at this, at the width here, we're looking at about maybe 1.25 inches because this is it measures 1.25 inches. It's a 30 millimeter tube, I guess. So that's about 30 millimeter wide, and it tapers down out here where it meets the kingpin. Now you look at Bray Bray's car. This is a 2015 or 2018 cart. And he has sniper pills on here. The full-blown, come on off here. The full-blown setup. And look how much wider that that spindle yoke is. Sorry, folks. This thing is just not, I should have pulled this apart first, but it's much wider. That's every bit of 1 3/4 inches, if not more, and it comes straight out. So this base for this piece here is far bigger than what we've got going on here. So just to put these on is not going to be a direct application. We'd have to measure how long the bolt is. Maybe we can get a longer metric bolt. Why would you need a longer one? If we're going to try to use these to give us more adjustment, we're going to need to weld a base on here first, big enough to mount it on, right? Top and bottom. Probably bore those holes out. I'm not sure how big a hole is underneath here, but I bet it's bigger around than that because it has to have enough room to rock and roll back and forth here, right? And the problem with all this is, what if you adjust it all the way out to get it neutral, to get it straight up and down, zero caster positive or negative, and it won't adjust far enough? We've got a lot of questions, and right now, no good answers, especially with the 26th coming just 27, 28 days from now. So what we're not afraid of doing, and what we have done in the past, is saw cut the chassis right on the back of that yoke. Not all the way off, mind you, probably 3/4 of the way up, and bend it in and weld it back on to give us, because we don't want to mess with we're not going to alter the spindle, but just putting a saw cut in here and moving it in. Like I said, we've done that before. And so the reason I set it up at neutral top and bottom is if we can do this and get it to zero, then we'll have our positive and negative adjustment again. Right now, we're out of the window altogether. With the most positive attitude camber on the pill setup, it still is in a negative attitude by almost probably, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch up here, maybe a quarter inch. But I'll show you the picture so you can see. Regardless, it's not good. It's not good. And I'm not gonna burn up, brand new tires of 30 minutes to an hour and they'll look like thimbles. It's not gonna work for me. So I'm not as confident as I was the other day that this go-kart's gonna be done now. But cutting and moving and getting her close, or getting it where we need it, shouldn't take more than a day. We should be able to get the big 6-inch death wheel and cut the electric death wheel and cut right up in there. It'll leave a nice wide groove. It'll give us plenty of room to move it in. The only issue that I have is because the saw cut would be on an angle like this and not an angle like this. We're going to be screwing up camber or caster as well. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. But then again, when you buy $500 go-karts, this is what you get, man. Buyer beware. And you know what? Now I know better. Now I know what to look for. I didn't really look this thing over anywhere near enough. It was super freezing cold, remember? It was sub-zero cold. It was like 6 degrees that day. Bone-chilling freaking cold. So all I wanted to do was get the thing in the truck and get my ass back home. Remember the heater, the blower on the truck? The knob on the blower for the heat was broke, so it was either wide open or it didn't work at all, right? And sub-zero cold, windshield washer fluid freezing, salt all over from the snow and the cold. Buyer beware. Just, if a deal sounds too good to be true, as Mom always used to say, it probably is. Godspeed, God bless you. I'll hang in there. Look for part 2 and see how out of whack this thing really is. And now you'll understand why I'm so concerned about it. It'll get better. Come hook or crook, come death wheel and welder, it'll get better. We'll see, y'all. We're praying for you.